Alright YouTube, time for another garden update because things are looking real good. This has gotten a bunch of cow shit added to it and it's already been hoed out. Took out all the weed roots and everything. Got it nice and smooth. I also took the catnip out because I'm tired of dealing with it being in with the annuals. This is just going to be for vegetables from now on. This is looking good as well. I put some chamomile in it, as you can see here, and some catnip plants. This is going to be a mix of perennial plants like the chamomile and then herbs, certain annuals and so forth. It's just going to be decorative, sort of cottage garden mode. And then we've got this, the peach tree. I was looking back at prior videos, and if it blooms, it should bloom around the end of April, the beginning of May, thereabouts. I should be seeing buds by the end of April, and it'll come into full bloom later. But this soil is basically ready to plant. There are a few little herb seedlings actually coming up. I'll probably leave those. And I finally got this one plant. There was an iris growing here that had been right at the edge of the bed before it was ever bordered, and then it kept growing and growing and pushing the bricks out, so I finally had to rip that out. And I'll show you where I put it, because this bed over here is finally doesn't look like crap. This bed here, see the irises right there in the middle, sort of as a showpiece. I split up the rhubarb plants, and so instead of having 7 kind of peaked rhubarb plants, there's a little more than a dozen clumps here from where I separated them, and I threw a catnip plant in there. But also what I did, just to make it look more attractive, is I put chamomile plants. See, I had so many chamomile seedlings I didn't know what to do with them all. And there wasn't enough rhubarb to fill the entire bed completely, so I just put in chamomile plants around the edge. That actually is good. Chamomile coexists fairly well with basically anything. So this will look more colorful. I dug it all out deeply. I removed all the witchgrass and everything. I even went through the clumps as I was taking them out and pulled out these individual roots of witchgrass. Sometimes they're 2 or 3 feet long. They go right through the soil, and that's really how it spreads. It's, I guess it's a stolon or something like that. I might pop a couple more catnip plants in here because there's still a little bit of space, or I might leave that open just to look a little bit less full. Have a few empty spaces in there for airflow. Helps cut down on disease. This is still basically ready. You can see some various plants trying to come up, but I'm going to till this a second time. See, what I've done is I've tilled it up so that all those weed seeds that were in there from the old compost, anything that wasn't fully composted, they're already going to sprout. Then I'll till it again and kill those off to cut down their numbers even more so that it'll be easier to deal with all year. And I popped in a couple of rhubarb plants actually here as well. You can see little clumps that didn't quite have enough mass to bother putting them in the rhubarb bed itself. I figured, you know, there's a 50-50 chance these will actually survive, and it looks like they're already pushing up now, actually, come to think of it, which isn't surprising. It's like horseradish. If you take a horseradish plant and you just basically lop it all apart, any little chunk of root that has at least a few little rootlings on it, there's a good chance that it'll actually sprout. And what I think I'm going to do here, to make this a hell of a lot easier on me, since I've taken out all the chamomile I can possibly transplant, there's not a whole lot in here that I cared about. It was mostly annuals anyway. What I'm going to do is scrape all that charcoal together, level this all out, and then sprinkle it back on when I add like the compost and stuff like that. And I think it'll be easier on me, because I need to add a lot to this bed to make it work anyway. And I don't want to make 5 or 6 more charcoal loads to fill all of that in, because I like to have some of the ash too for phosphate. I only want to basically burn brush from now on. And actually, once the charcoal's added, since it'll last longer than I will, there's no reason not to just burn all the wood to ash in that barrel as well, and just continuously add that for phosphate, especially for like potatoes or anything. And what I might do, and this is the last thing I'll show you, what I might do actually is I'm thinking about cutting this down and making it like a perfectly square bed and taking that extra brick and going over here. This was always planned to be a bed. It never fully came about, but if I dig through that and separate those lilies, I can make a nice bed that'll be sort of like a third decorative bed here. Have like 3 feet in between here, and then have a nice big rectangular bed, and it'll look pretty, be nice and decorative, and it'll cut down the amount that I have to mow, because I won't have to actually mow through it. So yeah, things are starting to come up. All the perennials are waking. It's looking pretty good, as you can see. That's about all. Peace out.